Hi again, everyone. I'm Ollie Matthews. This is Societal Narcissism. This video is sponsored by contribution from Thomas. Before I get to Thomas's video, please go to the description box and click on the Rumble link. Please watch over on Rumble. I'm still monetized there, and it'll help out with the channel. On to Thomas's video. Thomas sent in this video for me to review and get my opinion on. Blaming boomers. Are today's younger generations really that stupid? Alrighty, here we go. Pinball preparedness, 128,000 subscribers. Okay. 20,000 views 5 days ago. This guy don't look like a boomer, though. He looks like a late Gen Xer who probably can't live without the boomers in his life. Let's see, shall we?
Happy lunch hour, gang. Okay, so this video is going to be kind of fun. There's some generalization in it because, of course, generalization works both ways. So you listen to it and you see how it figures for you. There's nothing funnier when I'm reading comments under videos. And sure, there's people that disagree with me and tell me I'm wrong, and sometimes I am. There's no question. You know, we can go back to the infamous one, which people still comment about. You said Putin wasn't going into Ukraine. Yeah, I did. And I also admitted I was wrong. You know, I'm not perfect. No problem. But the funniest one...
Well, Putin didn't want to go into Ukraine. He really didn't. Biden gave him no other alternative. I mean, NATO and Biden gave him no other alternative, really, if you look at it from his perspective. But that's not what this video is about. And from what I can gather, because I looked at a couple other of his videos, I didn't look at this one. He's MAGA, but he's like Hannity MAGA. Like, he's like boomer Brainrot MAGA, like normie MAGA. So I think I pretty much know where this one's going.
And always is when somebody comes up with the snarky line, and not only to me, but all over the place, and says, okay, boomer, right? You guys have...
Why does that bother you? Like, why? If you're not a boomer, why does that bother you?
Probably heard that too. It's usually made by a completely ill-informed, AOC being a genius in comparison, rocket scientist, millennial, or zoomer. Now, I figure I'm pretty qualified.
Not necessarily. No. I say whatever boomer all the time. Large portion of my channel is dedicated to calling out the boomers, the 79% of the boomers who have destroyed society. He's waiting on an inheritance or something. He comes off as one of these Gen Xers who can't function without the approval of his boomer father. Like I know so many of these Gen Xers that are still sucking on the freaking teat of the boomer generation, who are attached, still haven't cut the umbilical cord from their boomer parents, even into their 50s.
To defend the boomers here for a second, because first off, contrary to all these people's thoughts, I'm Gen X. I was born in 1966. Okay,
he came off to me. I could tell he wasn't a boomer. That he was probably older than me, a little older Gen. So he's late 50s. Okay, be fair here.
Boomer generation is from 1946 to 1965. So, okay, boomer kind of goes whoosh because it doesn't apply.
Right. Okay. Right. It's like, whatever. Like, yeah, whatever.
And I have no relationship, no family whatsoever that are boomers. Both my parents, 1939 and 1942. That would make them the silent generation.
Right. Just outside, but okay. Just outside the boomer generation. Like I said, I mean, if you're off by a couple years here, it's not like, 1940, 45 rolls around. Oh, that's it. It's like just completely different person. No, there's bleed over for a couple of years going both ways easily.
So no, there's no boomers in my family at all. So I'm just going to give you that to start. So we hear this blaming all the time on the boomers, why millennial.
And if that's true, if you had typical silent generation parents, then you don't understand the boomer experience then. Then you shouldn't be commenting on this, because the people who are commenting and making these comments at you were raised by boomers, have been having boomers directly affect their lives since birth. So now if you want to take the stand that even though your parents are just outside the boomer generation, fine, and you didn't experience it, fine, then you don't have the experience to talk about what we're talking about. Now, I understand he's responding to comments on his own video, and he has every right to do that. But he's not understanding because, like he said, he wasn't raised by boomers. So he doesn't understand the perspective of where we're coming from then, if you take him at his word, that his parents are typical silent generation outside the boomers. Okay, I'll take you at your word. Then you have no experience to comment on what we're talking about. Instead, you should be asking, what was your experience with these people? What was it like? But no, he's taking him, well, I wasn't raised by them, so therefore you're wrong about them. Well, how does that wash? It doesn't.
And Zoomers can't do anything. It's all the boomers' faults, right? Okay. Now, I'm going to give you this for a quick start, being Gen X. Gen X has a skill that millennials and Zoomers never acquired, which is good. It's called critical thinking. All right. We have the ability, God forbid, to hear both sides of a story, look up facts, and, oh my God, make our own opinion.
Why, though? Why do we have that ability? Because our parents, in their negligence, okay, because it wasn't like they did this, for our benefit, because they were so negligent that they had us basically running the streets from 4 years old on. We had to do that. We had to learn from each other how to do these things. That's why you have this ability. And even though your parents weren't boomers, I'm sure all your friends' parents were. So you were running the streets with these same kids who are living the boomer experience, and then you're picking up the Gen X experience from them. But not because your parents were outside of the boomer gen. I hope that makes sense. You're missing it. You're missing the why.
Right? The funny thing is, we developed that skill before the internet existed, right? We didn't have the ability to Google everything and then just parrot whatever somebody else said.
Right. But you also, what were we talking about when we were kids? The Gen X, and I'm sure all kids do this, but the Gen Xers, all we could talk about was how full of shit our parents were. What hypocrites they were. How they said one thing and did another, and they didn't know what the hell we were doing. So we're able to spot how messed up this generation is as children. We're on the right side of the issue as children. When you're on the right side of the issue, you're on the right side of the issue, and it makes it much easier to see the world and to argue logically and rationally and to look at both sides. The being raised by boomers forced us to do it. Not that it was by design, not that they should be getting any credit for that.
I ran across, and you guys have probably seen many of these, but I ran across this tweet this morning, and this is hilarious. Well, look at this, all right? Guy says,
1,000,001. 1,000,001 for that. Are you freaking, come on. Built in 1950, originally sold for $8,000 for sale, asking for $1.1 million. Is he really going to shit talk this post? If he brings up interest rates, I'm going to throw my monitor out the window, I swear.
Baby boomers lived life on easy mode, and you think we should just work harder. And it shows a picture of a house in California, mind you. Built in 19...
So? See, that's just it in California. So, like, that's supposed to just make it okay that the communists have completely taken over California.
1950, sold originally for $8,000, for sale today, and the asking price is $1.1 million. All right, so we can talk whatever you want about California. Let me give you just a quick tip on this.
Oh, no.
Welcome to liberalism. That is what drove the prices up, okay? But this time...
Yeah, but on whose back? Who drove it? Who drove? Wait, and it's not just liberalism. There's plenty of Republican voting boomers who are you in? It's not just liberalism that did this.
Tells you how uninformed, lack of critical thinking that millennials and Zoomers have. Bitching about everybody else because God knows where's my entitlement, where's my participation.
Bro, you're talking about an $8,000 house being sold for $1.1 million. And it's not like there were any, it's a ranch. It looked like it was a 3-bed, one bath ranch. You can't there's no justification for that. None. You can't twist that into saying that there's some kind of entitlement issue when the person selling it will look down their nose at their own children and say, I bought a house at 22 years. This is what I bought at 22 years old. Why can't you? Woo. Like, are you being serious right now? He is. That's the scary thing.
Trophy. Baby boomers did this, right? Told you before. If this house was built in 1950, the oldest baby boomer, when this house was built, was 4. I don't know, but last time I checked, banks don't give mortgages to 4-year-olds.
You could just take my parents' house in New Jersey, bought in 1971 for $30,000. Okay, it's worth $800,000 today. Okay, so it's not that it was enough. It was enough. And what do you think? It's just unbelievable. It really is. Who do you think got that? You think the original owners in that house, or do you think it was the kid was handing down to the kids and they got it and they're making that profit? The boomer children.
So, maybe not. Let's take a look at it.
Go look at what we all know it. We all know what the boomers bought. So you found one post from 1950. Okay, start your post from then 1964, 1965. Start them from the 60s. Start them from the 70s, even into the 80s. Compared to what it was now, was it $8,000 then? No. But it was like $20,000, $30,000 for 3, 4, 5 bedroom homes.
Another part of this, in 1950, when this house was built for $8,000, the average annual salary across the country was $3,300. Okay,
right, and we were still on the freaking gold standard. What was the value of the dollar then? The currency, we've printed so much currency and we have devalued our money so rapidly and so much, okay, without wages rising to reflect that, because they can't, because that's how you go bankrupt, and we're going bankrupt anyway. It's about the value of the dollar. The dollar has been completely devalued. And you're also talking about a time we were still on the gold standard.
I'm not going to say that real estate prices haven't gone up. I'm certainly going to show that here in a second, and why. But all right, $8,000 now sounds like nothing. But when you're making $3,300 a year, which for those of you that are mathematically challenged, millennials and Zoomers,
it's not only that. Listen. People working at a bakery job, an assembly line job, okay? Working at a supermarket could still own a home. That ain't happening. That's not happening today. Completely, like, what a dishonest argument.
That's less than $300 a month. Okay. You guys are bitching that you don't make that now in an hour.
And what was the grocery bill back then? What was the car bill back then? What was the light bill back then? Acting like none of these other things exist, like everything hasn't been completely inflated and the currency hasn't been totally devalued.
Yeah, we have some comparison. So then the whole thing comes up about mortgages. Oh my God, how expensive mortgages are. You know, we can't afford houses, et cetera, because the mortgage rates are too high. Now, you listen to Zoomers say this, and most of the time, the ones that are saying it are about 25 years old. Okay, so let's take a look at this. This is the historical mortgage rates chart going back.
I have made this point over and over and over again about the mortgage rates. Would you rather be paying 10, 12% over 30 years for a $30,000 mortgage, or would you rather be paying 5% over 30 years for a $300,000, $400,000, $500,000 mortgage? I mean, were you insane? Oh my God.
In 60s, when, let's see, who would be buying mortgages? Who would be getting mortgages in the 1960s? Oh, that would be boomers. So let's start there, right? If you were one of the first boomers and you got a mortgage, born in 1946, when you were 25 years old, it'd be 1971, right? Let's take a look at where mortgage rates were then. Somewhere between 8 and 10%. Okay. If you were...
It's not about the mortgage rate. It's not about the mortgage rate anymore. When you're dealing when the houses have been inflated 400, 500, 600%, your mortgage rate is not going to compensate for that.
Gen X, me, 25 years old. When would you be getting your first mortgage? Well, that would be somewhere in the early 90s. Okay, where were mortgage rates then? Somewhere between 8 and 10%. Okay. Let's say you're a millennial.
And then 9/11 happened and they lowered all the interest rates to try to get everybody in houses, and that's what caused the financial crisis. Do you forget the financial crisis? Everything collapsed in 2006 and then the banks had to get bailed out because they were too big to fail. It was because of this thinking. It was because of this. But he came out all right on the other side, so I guess none of this applies.
And when would you be getting your first mortgage? Oh, that would be somewhere around 2010. Let's take a look at what mortgage rates were then. Somewhere around 5%.
This is so dishonest.
Shut up about we had such a great time. Boomers did, or Gen X did.
What did the houses cost, you liar? I mean, come on.
Mortgage rates you guys got were half of what we got. Oh, gee, I'm sorry. You're a Zoomer, and mortgage rates are going up. Oh, my God, they're so expensive. Mortgage rates right now are at 6.5%. See that nice little red line there? Historical average, 7.7.
And now I know why you got called a boomer. Now I know why you got called a boomer. Because you might as well be. Because you talk just like them. You talk just like one. The same tired, disproven, discredited arguments that every freaking boomer has been shoving down our throats for 30, 40 years. Okay, here you are just carrying their water for them.
Shut up. Okay?
You shut up.
But houses are so expensive. Not going to deny that. Okay?
Oh, thank you.
Wages kept up with housing prices? No.
So then what are you talking about?
What caused housing prices to go up? On an inflation basis. All right? I want you to consider this. You have to look.
Who cares what caused it? It's the reality. Is calling out and say is liberalism caused it all? Does that help you with your monthly payment? What's your point? Oh, this is happening, but it's not the boomers' fault. Is that the point of this video? It is the boomers' fault. Who's sitting with all these assets? It's the boomers.
Look at what people were making. You could say an $8,000 house in 1950. Well, you're trying to buy an $8,000 house on today's money. Great. Okay. Like I said, go buy an $8,000 house when you make less than $300 a month. So let's look at an inflation-adjusted home index and see how this worked out. Look at this. Okay. If you look at this chart going back to the 1960s, okay, throughout 1960 to 2000, home prices stayed pretty much level with inflation. Good. It's about the way it should be. Everything should stay along those lines, right? And then we saw this big spike, right? From 2000 to about 2012.
Who is in charge? Who is in charge of the government and the banks and the housing and all of it in that time period? Who was in charge of that? Oh, it was the boomers. That's right. It was the boomers.
And everything went sky high. Why?
Who's in charge?
I don't know. We had that little thing in the early 2000s. George Bush was president, but the Democrats controlled everything. Everybody should be able to buy a house.
This isn't political. This isn't. You can't make this into politics. You boomerfied Hannity idiot. Stop watching Sean Hannity. He's rotting your brain. Holy shit! You just made my whole fucking point. You're going to talk about the financial crisis that was caused by them driving down interest rates, forcing people into houses they still couldn't fucking afford, and then everything crashed out. Who did that? The boomers did that. Ooh, the Democrats. No shit. It was both. It was everybody. It's a uniparty. Stop watching Hannity. Stop absorbing his boomer brain slop. This is what watching Sean Hannity leads to. If you're on the right, this is what it leads to. Boomer ball washing.
If you can sign your name, you can buy a house.
Right? Who did that?
That's what happened?
Who did that? Who did that? The boomers. What was George Bush? You're blaming the liberals. This was done under George Bush, a Republican. What is George Bush? A fucking boomer. Oh my God. I'm going to suggest a Christmas gift that somebody who cares about you buys. A glass belly button. That way, when you're walking around with your head up your ass, you can look out and see what the rest of us are doing.
Everybody could buy a house. Didn't have to qualify with anything mortgage-wise. People were taking adjustable rate mortgages, yada, yada, yada.
All done by the boomers. All done by the boomers. All pushed by the boomers. And the boomer parents pushing their, you got to get a house. You got to get a house.
For that, 2008, 2010, that area, foreclosures went through the roof. Why? Because the Democrats let anybody and everybody buy a house with no money down, no...
Who was in charge? It was George Bush. The Republicans ran everything up until 06. And then they lost the midterms. They got crushed. All that happened under the Republicans, you dunce. Under the fucking Hannity fucking globalist Republicans. Oh my God.
Income verification, yada, 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 and then everything crashed. Okay? So we crashed through about 2012. And then everything started going back up again. May I remind you who was in the White House starting in 2008 through 2016 and who was controlling Congress.
But it crashed under the Republicans. What are you talking about? Oh my, this is what, holy shit. This is what makes our side look retarded. Oh my God, this guy is still spouting 2004 Sean Hannity talking points. You got to be kidding me.
Oh, gee, let's get the rates back, or let's get the housing prices going back north again. So after the crash, we came back down closer to normal, but then we went up. That trajectory continued under Trump's first term. Sorry. Contrary to what people believe, he can't fix stuff on day one. Okay. You can F things up on day one, no question. Because if we look at 2020, 2021, when the potato took office, he managed to F things up on day one. You look at that spike that we had from 2021 through 2023. Don't tell me it was COVID. Home prices didn't go up because of COVID. All right, they went up because of idiot liberal policies. They dipped a little bit, and then through 2024, we're still going up. Look what happened in 2025. Granted, we're only 6 months into the year, 8 months in. Housing prices.
This still doesn't. This was all caused by boomer policies. And you're trying to blame it on the liberals. There was the Republicans in charge. The Republicans were in charge. The Democrats were supporting it. This wasn't a liberal. This wasn't a liberal conservative. No. The Republicans did this. All this stuff you're talking about happened after 9/11. Who was in charge? Who ran the White House? Who ran Congress? Who ran the Senate? The Republicans didn't lose the Senate until after the housing crash. They didn't lose Congress until 06 midterms. And they got housed. And then Obama won in 08. And then in the 2010 midterm, that was the rise of the Tea Party, the beginning of MAGA, and then the Republicans retook the House and the Senate. And then they had to crush the Tea Party, and it was the whole uniparty thing was working behind the scenes to crush the new Tea Party people coming in. Like, where are you? Stop watching Sean Hannity. It is boomer brain rot. And you're out here spouting disproven stuff that's been disproven for nearly 20 years now. Not realizing, defending the boomers, meanwhile, basically admitting they caused all of this. But you think you can angle it to blame it all on liberals? It somehow, no, it does. Even if it had, it's still boomers.
Prices are starting to come down. Wonder why. If you look historically through here, when we have morons, Democrats, the people that millennials and Zoomers love, let's have socialism. We need to do this, right? That's the one to blame. You're voting for millennials and Zoomers. You're voting for the idiotic policies that you're complaining about. Did you ever think of that?
You're crossing it's two separate issues.
You hear all the stories on, oh my God, we've got to elect Mamdani. Do you think he's going to make things cheaper? No. Everything's going to get more expensive, right? Look at California, as we talked about that house at the very beginning. That house, California. Who's been running California for the last 30 years? That would be the Democrats.
Boomers.
Right? Okay. Save one little...
Boomers. Boomers have been running California. Boomers have been running everything. They've just been completely unchecked out in California.
Blip with Arnold as the governor. Not that he's some great conservative by any means.
For Christ's sake, your last senator in California died in office. She was sitting there. She was physically decrepit, could like this. They were wheeling her around in a wheelchair like the Crypt Keeper. A boomer holding on to freaking power.
But yeah, Maxine Waters, Dianne Feinstein, Nancy Pelosi, Adam Schiff. Those are the ones you're putting in office now, right?
Boomers.
Everything's so expensive. Don't give me this. Crap is too expensive. We can't do it. Those of you who've been around here long enough know my story. Gen X, okay? Born in 1966.
Who did not have a boomer, who did not have to, by your own admission, did not have to deal with boomer parents. So what do you talk? You have no basis to talk to us about anything. Your facts are all wrong. You're making the wrong arguments. You're not even real. You're admitting the boomers are the problem, but you think you can just blame it all on liberalism. No.
12 years ago, I was homeless. Had nothing. I had a $1,000 truck that I bought in a junkyard. No furniture. No nothing. So let's see. In 2013,
Okay.
I was what? 47? Okay. 12 years. I own my house outright. I own my vehicle outright. I don't owe anybody anything. Everything is paid for. My daughter is going to med school. Okay. Yeah. Don't give me this crap that you can't do it. Because at 47 in 2013, I was doing the same thing you are. Getting started again. You have the great college education. Mine didn't do anything for my job. It was skills. It was hard work. But I need to, no, you don't need to do anything. You need to support yourself.
Okay, congratulations. You got yourself out of a hole. Congratulations. You're the anomaly. A lot of people just can't do that. You know what also you had? You're comparing yourself here. You're in a situation at 47. 47 years of life experience, and now you're shoving it in a 25-year-old's face because they might have a college degree that they were lied about, that they had to have and put themselves into who knows how much student debt to obtain. You see, here's your problem. Here's this problem. And this is the problem with all of Gen X, is as much as we talk about how logical we are and how we had it better, and it's true. There's too many Gen Xers like him that don't take themselves seriously. He thinks he's taking himself seriously, but he doesn't, because he doesn't realize he had 47 years of life experience to go by when that happened to him in 2012, 2013. You can't teach life experience. You can only live it. You can't teach experience. You can only work it to obtain it. And somehow he misses that about himself. Because what would he have done at 25 if he was in that situation? With no life experience, no skills, no anything. Been much different, because he doesn't take himself seriously as much as he'd like you to believe he does. He doesn't.
Critical thinking. What do I need to do to better myself? See, this is one thing Gen X got. This is where we can thank the baby boomers. For those of you who had baby boomer parents that are Gen X, we were left to fend on our own.
Right.
From an early age. I mean, I was 9 years old. My brother was 6, somewhere thereabouts, where we were left home alone. Came home from school. Mom was at work. Dad was at work.
That's boomer behavior. Like I said, just because, again, always looking for the technicality, looking for the outlier, as if the outlier disproves the entire argument. It doesn't. You're in denial. This guy's in denial about who his parents were. He just can't bring himself to admit it.
Okay. We had to make our snack when we got home. We had to do our homework. We had chores. We had to set the dinner table, take out the garbage, clean up the dog poop, mow the lawn, shovel the snow, do all that sort of stuff. Okay. In my brother and my case, we also had newspaper routes. Okay, that started for me at 11. We got a work ethic. We learned independence.
That's all life experience that these millennials and Zoomers didn't have. They couldn't have had it. They didn't live enough life. But yeah, you want to sit there with your life experience and then look down your nose at them and defend the boomers, the people who put them in this situation in the first place.
I know how to cook. I know how to sew. I know how to do my own laundry. I know how to fix a lot of stuff. Okay. I know how to build a lot of stuff. Where were those skills acquired? Out of necessity. Okay.
Right.
Because we learned early on about being independent, about being self-sufficient. We didn't have, Mom, my friend lives 3.
He's basically calling out his boomer parents, who he says aren't boomers, and defending him at the same time. Oof. 128,000 subscribers. I mean, boomer here. Every day I look around and this is what my school tax is. Not. People complain about 6% mortgage rates but are happy to spend 30% on a credit card. Like, you idiots. I'm a 75-year-old BB veteran. Sorry, don't blame me. When I hear boomers, I just reply, hey, renter. That really puts sand down their butt crack. Like, they don't get it. They can't stop. And there it is. Here's good Gen Xer. Here are all the boomers coming in. Good Gen Xer. Good Gen Xer. Bro, you should be embarrassed. You're proving every millennial and Zoomer's point. I can see exactly why they say to you, whatever, boomer. Because I'm like, whatever, boomer.
3 doors away, drive me over there. We rode our bikes. We played outside. We stayed out till the street lights came on. A lot of you guys can do that. We skinned our knees. We played in the woods. We crawled around in dumpsters looking for stuff to do. We formed our own social circles, baseball teams, football teams, this side of the neighborhood versus that side of the neighborhood. We did all that. You guys were too lazy to go outside and play. Okay? Don't tell me you got a newspaper out. Most of the millennials and Zoomers are too lazy to babysit, right? Do anything. They don't want it. What do you mean I've got to work after school for $7 an hour? When I was a kid, minimum wage was $3.35. Okay? That was it. And you know what? I didn't like making $3.35 washing dishes for 12 hours, which is what I did on weekends. Okay? I need to make more money. You know what I did? I learned to wait tables. And that was it. I worked at...
He's making all our points about the boomers, and like he doesn't even realize it. He doesn't even realize he's making every argument we've all been making for 20 years here. And defending it. Like, but my parents aren't boomers. Really? It sure seems like they acted a whole hell of a lot like one.
For those of you in Michigan, you might remember this. An Elias Brothers big boy. I waited tables. Guess what? I started making more than $3.35, so I had some spending money. I also was still doing...
Right, good luck. Can they get those jobs, or are those jobs all taken up by illegal immigrants at this point? And adults who are trying to raise families on jobs that were made for teenagers.
Delivering newspapers, and going to school, and doing my homework, and doing all my chores around the house, yada, 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 and still had free time to go out with my friends occasionally. That was it. Because you know what? We had a work ethic. We did. It wasn't, Mom, can I have $5 back then? Now it's like, Mom, can I have $50? Okay. To go out. If I would ask my parents that, they're like, here's $5. I own you this weekend. You're going to do this and this and this and this and this and this and this. No. I remember Mom used to pay me $0.25 to clean the bathrooms in the house. Scrub them. Okay. That was what I got, $0.25. Okay.
Sounds like a boomer to me.
Funny listening to millennials and Zoomers bitch about boomers. They won't change because they think, I'm 25. I should have the mansion like Mom and Dad have. Wouldn't necessarily call this a mansion. Okay. I should have the $30,000, $40,000 car. No, you shouldn't. Okay. How'd they get there? They worked for it. Did the boomers get to reap the benefits of increasing home prices and decreasing interest rates?
Yeah.
You got to start there, all right, with low interest rates. They didn't. Okay.
Again, with the interest rates, we've proven the interest rate argument is ridiculous. It's ridiculous. He must be waiting on an inheritance. He must be. I mean, I don't know. It seems like his parents would be probably long past gone at this point, but who the hell knows?
A lot of boomers about buying houses at 18% mortgage rates. Tell me how that one goes. Right?
18% for an $8,000 house. You tell me how that one goes. And again, the rates kept coming down and they all kept refinancing. So what are you talking about? They didn't stay locked in at 18% from when they bought the freaking house. All the rates came down, so that meant their payments came down. Holy shit. That was the only rate they ever had. It was the original rate, and they all stayed locked in at the same mortgage rate for 30 years. Stop watching Sean Hannity.
You need to wake up, younger people. There's a good reason why a lot of people in Washington are older. Because the young ones are dumb as...
Oh, is that why? Is that why? It's not because the boomers have encased themselves in power and are literally dying in wheelchairs as they're getting wheeled around and their staffs are voting for them as they're just demented. That's it. We're just too dumb. Everyone else is just too dumb. Really?
You weren't here. Can you imagine Jasmine Crockett, Cori Bush, AOC, Jamal Bowman, Ilhan Omar? Talk about stupid. This is what I say where the country is doomed all the time.
They're stupid.
Because we're getting now to the point where Gen X is starting to get elected and run the country.
Yeah, that should have been happening 10, 15 years ago. See, that's the point. Vance is going to end up being the next president. So you're not even going to have a Gen X president again for maybe another 12 years.
But we ain't going to do it for long because Gen X pretty much is anti-authority. We don't particularly care for it. A lot of people on this channel are Gen X. Why? Because we're independent and don't like the government.
Looks like a lot of people in your comments are a bunch of boomers.
So when the millennials and zoomers take over, we're screwed. Because now we are sending the dumbest generations in history to run the country.
Who created the dumbest generation in history? Who created them? The boomers.
Leave you with this, just because nobody can say it better than this woman, and it's funny, but I want you to listen to her retort. Enjoy this to end it out. Have a good one. Pinball out.
The fact that the generation that licked lead off of paintbrushes and used asbestos and snow in Wizard of Oz is telling the generation that grew up with literally all information at the tips of our fingers that we're stupid and that they're wiser because they're older is so dumb.
Now, hang on a second. If you're going to come at us, at least come at us with some facts. We didn't lick the lead off of paintbrushes. We licked that shit off of our cribs and we ate paint chips. We also breathed in fumes from leaded gasoline and we loved it. I'm older than the internet. And I'm also old enough to remember when they thought collective stupidity was caused by a lack of access to information. And I'm pretty sure we blew that theory out of the fucking water. You can't go around bragging about having access to all information at your fingertips if you're not going to use the shit. Then turn around and make fun of older people for something that happened to them when they were younger that they had no control over, like lead poisoning. Now, I know some older people think that younger people are stupid, but I am not one of those people. But I do get a good laugh out of some of the questions I get asked, like, hey, where do I put the postage stamps on the envelope? Do I put them side by side or do I stack them one on top of the other? How do you make pancakes round? Which color gas do I put in the gas tank? What perplexes me even more are the most random questions that we get asked that we don't know the answer to, and then we're the ones that end up Googling the shit to find the answer, and we weren't the ones that had the question to begin with. Wisdom doesn't come from Google. It comes from living a couple of decades where you earn the instincts of knowing when to Google something without being told. Just Google the shit, would ya? We're not walking encyclopedia.
So he's posting her to slam, but she makes the same point that I just made. Life experience. Life experience. Yet he's here bragging at 47. Why I did it at 47. Why can't you do it at 25? Life experience. This is why we have the life experience. And look, it's a weird generation, okay? Because we are a generation that got all this new technology that we had to teach our boomer parents how to use. And then the technology advanced so fast in our generation that other things became so obsolete that the younger generations never had to deal with them. So we're always teaching one way or another. Why? Because of our life experience. He seems to miss this point. Also, I agree with most of what she's saying. I could do without the green hair and the crazy eyes, however.
Yes, we don't know everything, and we're okay admitting it, even if we do have brain damage from eating too many paint chips.
Yeah, kind of. Whew. Man, oh man, oh man, oh man. And he ain't even a boomer. Like, I could see why you get in the comment, okay, boomer, whatever, boomer, because you sound just like one. Just like one. Oh, my Lord. Talk about just missing the point completely. Stop watching Sean Hannity, bro. Like, it is boomer brain rot, and it'll make you go on the internet and say stupid things and make you just contradict yourself in your own videos over and over again. Mind-blowing. I mean, I'm glad we're on the same side and all, but you're making us look really, really bad. Get off the Sean Hannity, please. So, I'm going to leave it there. Thank you to Thomas for the contribution and clip. I really appreciate it. Thank you to everybody watching. Please leave any opinions in the comment section below. And again, if you want your story read on the channel, you have a topic you'd like me to cover, something you'd like to expose, you'd like to set up a Skype, a phone call, have a private video made, you'd like to sponsor a video like this for someone who needs help and can't afford it, or just make a contribution to the channel in general to keep it supported, growing, and successful, because this channel survives 100% on contributions from all of you. Without you guys, all this goes away. So if you like what you see here and you want to see more videos like this, you know what to do with either the Cash App, Zelle, PayPal, and email links in the description box below. Also, please like and share this video wherever you can. Subscribe to my channel if you haven't, and be sure to click the subscription bell to be notified of all my video uploads. Also, be sure to subscribe to both my channels on Rumble. If you haven't watched the video over there, please do. Even a click helps. Follow me on X and Telegram as well. I'm Ollie Matthews. This has been Societal Narcissism. Take care, everyone.